get to this video, can you guys please subscribe, like, and comment? I'm so excited for this journey, and I want you guys to see this journey with me. So go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is getting juicy.
What's up, YouTube? I'm Fitz, and I'm ready to talk. I know it's been a long time. But I'm back. I'm back like I never left. So I'm here to talk about season 15, episode 9, Better Late Than Never. Real Housewives of Atlanta review. Y'all already know. I'm late. Sorry, y'all. There's been a lot going on. So let's get to this review. So we open up with the scene with Sheree at acupuncturist. She's getting some acupuncture. You know, we all know she's trying to go the holistic route for her fibroids. She is there with her sister and her mom, I believe, and she's there acting a fool. She's on the table acting a fool, which I don't blame her, because low-key, I'll probably be the same way. I don't like needles, so any type of, even if I don't feel the needle, I'm still gonna, in my mind, process it. There's a needle going into me, so let me act a fool. So I think that's probably what was going on there. It was a cute little scene. She just says how she, you know, she's trying to stay away from the surgery and just would prefer to try this way and see if this is able to resolve those fibroids. Oh, that's cool. Dissolve the fibroids. That's cool. So she also mentioned her sister and her mother and says that she's planning on taking a trip with the girls to Portugal to kind of relax. I guess they have some type of spiritual experience there that can help with healing. So she's looking forward to that. And that's pretty much that scene. So we bounce over to Marlo's house, Marlo's closet specifically. She's in there talking to Ty, which is our friend, the one that hooked up with Scott Lee. And she's in there just talking to her and letting her know how she feels about the date, how, you know, it was amazing, how he brought her flowers. She also says that he texted her the good morning text and, you know, pretty much, hey, beautiful, you know, how was your, you know, rest, and how'd you sleep, and, you know, all that stuff, all that goody stuff. So, you know, she's just all like excited about this man. And it's nice to see Marlo in this light. I'm happy, you know, although I don't like Marlo's, you know, at least the Marlo on the show, right? Because I don't know her in real life, but the character she plays on the show, I don't like her just because of the way she is, how nasty she can be and rude she can be. And I'm happy to see her like in a lovey state. You know, it's kind of like the same kind of thing that happened when she got her nephews initially, right? Like seeing her as a Monty kind of start changing your view of her. But unfortunately, she went on back to the Marlo that we all love to hate. One more thing that I want to add about Marlo's scene is that she also spoke about how she is afraid in her confessional during the scene. She kind of just said that she's afraid to kind of open up because she feels like once you let people know your weaknesses, they use that against you. And I was like, hey man, like that is such a real thing. I've been there in past relationships to where, you know, you've let somebody in, and then once they know that button to push that can break you, they do it, right? Instead of actually helping you heal that, they in turn use that as ammo to hurt you. So I felt her in that. So we head on over to Sonya's house. Sonya's getting ready for her Mommy Nation charity event. What's kind of weird about this show is that when we get to that actual event, they kind of put on the screen that was a Mommy Nation brunch. But she made it clear that it's a charity event. They're planning on raising $5,000 for you know, less fortunate moms, so that they can, you know, provide for their kids, homeless moms, so they can provide for their kids, which is great. The goal is $50,000. So her friends are there helping her kind of get the goodie bags ready and stuff like that. I guess she's expecting 126 people. And last minute, the auctioneer actually backed out. Supposedly she got COVID, so she backed out, and her friend was like, well, what about Kenya? Kenya would be a good add-on to this. You know, she could get the people going, you know, say things that we can't say, like get your wallet and your pocketbooks out, you know, and Sonya was like, yeah, that actually might be a good idea. So she goes ahead and you know, considers Kenya, you know, for the job. So then we bounce on over to Kenya. Kenya is doing her Kenya Moore hair care commercial. Apparently she was like, she's gonna use that choreography from that Magic City, you know, the when she was supposed to do that halftime show, and she didn't do it because she got sick. She was like, she's gonna use this for a commercial. So she goes ahead and get the commercial together. She has, you know, drumettes there, she has dancers there, and Mañeta's there getting the dancers ready, because of course she did choreography originally for the halftime show. So she's there. So her and Mañeta's talking, and Mañeta, you do see her kind of like text someone, and it's just not like, okay, who's this mystery person? So we see somebody, clearly a male figure, right, walking with some bags in his hand, and it's Roy. It's her little boo thing there. Brooklyn's there also. Brooklyn's gonna be in the commercial. It was really cute. She did a little dance and stuff like that. So he walks in and he hugs Kenya, and Kenya just pretty much says, it's kind of hard to tie him down because a founder of a health food store / restaurant, so I guess there's a bunch of different, it's like a chain, so he's a busy man. So he comes in and gives her a hug, and they explain what's going on the set. I did think it was a little weird because when he walked in, it was kind of like for Kenya, and she said it was a surprise, but I just kind of felt like, well, the way I feel like Kenya would operate, I think she would want to know that, especially because she's so protective about Brooklyn, right? So I would think that it would have to be something she knows, because this is her daughter that's going to be introduced to another man, right? So it just kind of was, to me, it was like an awkward scene. So she said it was surprised, but I'm like, in my head, like, this had to be TV, right? It can't be a surprise. So she kind of introduced Brooklyn to him, and he says hi, and he tells her, good job, looks good, and he was like, I have to go because I have to go handle some business, but I did want to pop in and see you. So he leaves, and I feel like that was a cool little scene to see her. Actually, we get to see her interact with Roy outside of FaceTime, right? So that was pretty cool. So after Roy leaves, Sonya FaceTimes Kenya. Kenya answers it, of course, at the commercial shoot, and Sonya's just kind of like, we need you to be the auctioneer. Do you mind helping out in that capacity? And Kenya's like, for sure, definitely, I definitely will. Kenya goes ahead and her professional and gets take a little jab at Sonya. I don't know if you guys remember a couple seasons ago, I don't know if it was about 1 or 2 seasons ago, Sonya signed her and Candy up for like a photo shoot for like her mommy line, her Mommy Nation line gear, and Kenya was like, you did not book this through my booking agency, like, you're sitting here just getting me to do this, we need to have contracts in place, right? So because Kenya's kind of just like, well, here she goes again doing the same thing. She's like, she got one more time, 3 strikes and you're out. And I thought that was funny. I thought that was a funny little touch. So then we bounce on over to Drew's house. Of course, at Drew's home, her mom's there, her sister's there. We did find out this, I don't know if I missed it last episode when the sister did arrive, that we had a break, right? So you all know Real Housewives of Atlanta wasn't on the last Sunday, right? So we had a break in between that, so I could be forgetting something, but I don't remember them saying that the sister actually was going to be living there, like staying there with Drew and her family, right? But apparently she's staying there, and the sister and her mom sits down and they're on the couch and they're just talking. Drew was like, now I see everything you did, to be my manager. It's hard work, I see that it took a lot for you to do that. Drew in her confessional goes in and break down her sister's resume. Her sister is the bomb. Like, her sister has written for like Martin. She named a couple different shows that she'd written for, had something to do, had a hand in, right? So I'm like, okay, she has some type of credentials, right? So I understand why Drew probably felt more of the weight when she stepped away. So then the sister just goes ahead and shares her story. She shares that she was in domestic violence relationship, and that she was in a mental hospital, and because of all that, the PTSD, all that just came down on her at one time, so it was just a tough situation for her. And Drew and him, I guess she kept that as a secret from her family, which I understand. And it was a lot for her to take on. So Drew just pretty much says, we're happy that we're here. We're here now, and you're here. And her sister says, well, the main thing is that you need to make sure that you take care of your mental. She's pressing that, right? She knows she's had mental breakdowns, right? The sister has already, Drew and the sister has both said that the sister Allison has had breakdowns, right? Mental breakdowns. So the sister is like pushing that, like, you need to make sure you take vacation, take care of your mental, which I'm so here for that. I feel like that is very important, especially in the black. In the black culture, like, we don't take care of our mental all the time. So it's so good that they're pushing that. I hate that it had to be this sad scene, but it's very important that you make sure you check in with yourself first before you check in with anybody else, right? So the sister is just like, she's happy that they're in her corner now. She needed that, and that's when she says, I'm excited that you allowed me to stay here, Drew. And it was a very nice conversation. The sister, and Drew and the mom was crying, and the mom was just like, well, we didn't even know what was going on. She's like, lucky I didn't know, because I'll be in jail, and it was just like, I understand that, families stick together. So in a situation like that, that is what family's supposed to do. So it was just a beautiful scene. So the scene that we have been waiting for. We saw that this was happening the last episode. The next episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, we saw that Sheree was going to be sitting down with the OGs of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, minus Nene. So there was Lisa Wu, there was Deshaun Snow, and there was Kim, don't be tardy for the party. Y'all know who she is. So they all come in there and they sit down. They just kind of just talk. They're just catching up. It's funny how you find like in their confessional sometimes it's contradictory to what's actually going on. Because Sheree was like, her confessional was like, let me stop there first. Actually, Sheree, I don't know what she did to her face, but that face, it is completely different. I thought she looked so beautiful. The crazy thing about it is like Sheree has had something done previous, right? She doesn't look like the Sheree we met back then, right? She's had some work or some like, I don't know, it's Botox or something, injections. Actually, I think it may just be injections because the doctor, she has shared on her social media that the doctor did this work, right? And she looks so refreshed. Then, now, I don't know what it looks like. She looks swollen. Like, it's like, what is going on? Her nose looks different. I don't know. I don't know why she even touched herself. I like, sometimes I'm all for it. Some things are necessary. I get it. You know, you want to feel refreshed. You know, life has been life, and you want to get some, you know, some injections to pull some shit up, right? But why would you touch something that always that looks great? I don't understand. Like, why fix it if it ain't broke? And that's why it's just weird. I just want to bring that up because I know y'all seen that confession look, and her face looks so different. So I hope that is maybe just it's swelling, that it just needs to come down, and then she will go back to looking like she looked, and maybe, you know, better or something. I don't know. I don't see how she can look much better than she did, you know, this season. Like on the actual, you know, in the scenes, Sheree looks amazing in her face. Her face looks great. She looks young, refreshed. But that confessional look, woo, yikes! It was crazy. So to go back to the actual scene with all the OGs, they just kind of just talk and they're catching up. You know, Lisa Wu jokes with Kim is like, I don't know if I should karate chop your neck or I should hug you. You know, they go back and flash scene from 2010 where Lisa Wu said that to Kim. It was just a little, you know, just a little fun, little banter. They all catch up. You know, of course, Deshaun Snow is now divorced. Lisa Wu is now divorced. Kim is still with her husband. I just think she said they were together for 11 years. We know the blogs. I'm gonna talk on that top of the blogs soon. But they were supposedly getting divorced. Y'all remember we seen that in the blogs, but she says how they're doing great now. They've been together for 11 years or married for 11 years. So they're doing great. And then, you know, Sheree's just like, oh, we should all go on a vacation, a girls' vacation. And she says, by the way, you know, I'm taking the girls to Portugal, you know, for this little healing thing. She explains what's going on. And then, of course, Kim throws shade. She, you know, asks who's going. And, of course, she names all the girls that's on the cast currently, and she says Kenya, and Kim says, "Oh, that bitch is still alive." And she's like, Kim was holding on to the grudge that when they got into it, and she brought up her daughter. You know, it's just a whole situation. So it was just like, come on, like, Kim, please. Like, I don't know if she's trying to get back on the show, and I already told y'all how I felt in one of my reviews about Kim. Like, or one of my, I think it was my top blogs, to where Kim, that reunion, was saying that you can never get another white woman to sit up here with a bunch of these black women. So I was just like, I doubt that put a different taste for Kim in my mouth. So Kim, fuck you. But it was just an interesting scene. I felt like it was kind of misplaced. I felt like it was just a scene that could not, it was, you know, I mean, it's nostalgia, but it wasn't needed because it didn't really fit what was going on with everything else. It's kind of like just a fit in type thing. Whatever. But, you know, it was nice to see everybody, you know, in there, and they all look great. They all look great. So it was nice to see the OGs. So we're finally at the charity event that Sanya's throwing. So Sanya is getting her hair done by her sister, and her sister, you can feel like her mood is kind of off. I'm gonna say exactly what was said initially because it was some dialogue. They was of course speaking patois, right? But there was some dialogue that they had in between each other, and I'm just going to share my thoughts on the dialogue once I read to you guys, right? So sister says, "Why are you always doing this to me, friend?" And Sanya says, "What do you mean?" And her sister pretty much is just like, I didn't know the recordings were going to be. I didn't know they were recording it. She said she thought it was going to be like a B. I don't know what that means. I guess that was something. I thought she probably was saying like she thought it was going to be like a quick little, you know, capture, how they kind of just show in between. She knows it's going to be an actual scene. And the sister is just kind of like attitude and just like, you know, I didn't know. You didn't tell me when when your hair needed to be done. And then, you know, and Sanya's friend walks over, one of the ladies that helped her put this situation together that was at the house. at her house scene getting this charity event together, and she's like, oh, she have a, you know, the attitude, like she's mad and, you know, over it or whatever, like talking about Sanya's sister, and Sanya's sister just like, you know, she's kind of just looking and she's like, come on, and Sanya's just like, yeah, she's mad at me, you know, the schedule was kind of off or whatever, and her sister just has this nasty attitude, and I'm all for, you know, I understand time is valuable, right? Yes, time's valuable, but at the same time, I'm sure Sanya's paying her. And also, Sanya did this. Sanya cried, and Sanya was like, you know, I apologize for making you feel that way. Because sister was saying that, you know, she's toying with her life by not giving her a schedule. But Sanya was like, well, I kind of told you that these 4 weeks, which I guess that was preparation time for this charity event, would be busy. It was going to be hectic. And, you know, the sister was like, well, you didn't tell me I have kids, you know, I have your son, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, if you know the date of the charity event, you know, if you've been doing her hair, who you think over do her hair? No, sometimes you have to kind of check in. I get that, you know, she's this is her event, so I'm sure she's pulling a lot of shit all at once. So she may have forgotten to say, hey, sis, you know, I need you here at this time. Or, you know, if you know you have to do her hair, just say, hey, what time I need to be there. You know, I don't know the behind the scenes as far as what was said, but I just feel like the sister has been a little hard on Sanya, right? Like, Sanya is trying to do something for the greater good. And you to have her crying right before the event is a lot. You know, I was just kind of like, come on, sis, like, I understand, you know, nobody likes to be inconvenienced, but if I'm getting paid for it, is it really inconvenience? So finally, Sanya's all ready. She's looking great. The women start showing up. The house started to get packed. Sanya then realizes, like, hold on, where's Kenya? Kenya's running late. Sanya FaceTimes Kenya. All these Anyas. FaceTimes Kenya, and Kenya is just like, hey, yeah, she's still getting ready. And Sanya's like, you're not ready yet? Like, you're running late. Like, what's going on? You're supposed to be here early, you know? And Kenya's just like, well, yeah, I'll be there. But she's like, I have a problem with the seating arrangement. She's like, I have guests coming and you're saying they can't sit with us. Or sit with me. She's like, I'm not going to do that. She's like, I'm not going to separate them from sitting with me. Kind of get that, but at the same time, you shouldn't show. So I'm sure, you know, a lot of events you guys bring guests and they just don't sit with you guys because you guys are shooting. So once the shoot shots are done, then you guys can mingle with your guests that you bring. But whatever. So Kenya's just like, she has no problem with sitting across, you know, from the ladies and, you know, with her guests. So Sanya's like, fine, we'll figure it out. Just hurry up and get here. Sanya hangs with the phone. She can then go ahead and get back with the ladies. The ladies are kind of just chit-chatting, talking. And then Candy walks in. Candy then shares, like, you know, she had a show. She came straight from the show and came straight to the event. And then she had also had a show that night. And Sanya's just like, wow, she feels very special. She's like, the fact that, you know, Candy did all this for me to be here. And she's like, Candy has missed a lot of different events. And they show flashes of her missing, like, RHOA event and different ones events. And she's like, you know, I must be special or whatever. I think I'm special. And then I just kind of laugh because we know that Candy and her are now beefing, right? Now in the current time. So it's just kind of crazy to see how things change over time in their friendships. So we're going to finally get this auction underway. Sanya's like, Kenya's not here yet, so I'm going to get the hell up. She's like, Kenya's an hour late. So she goes ahead and gets up. She introduces the host of the event. And the host of the event, her duty is to go ahead and get these Mommy Choice Awards started. I guess it's some awards that she's given to, you know, different moms that have made an impact, right? So, finally, you know, as the ladies up there, we do see Kenya walk in the door and take her seat with her guests. So she does make it on time before the actual charity begins, the auctions begins, right? So Sanya gets up and takes the mic, and Sanya says, you know, for the last award, I wanted to give it to an OG mom who's now a glam mom. And honestly, we are kind of like Sheree, right? And then she's like, I have somebody that's special, you know, that's going to present this award to this special mom, who none other to do it than Cairo, Sheree's son. He gets up and he, you know, says how he loves his mom and how grateful he is for her. And, you know, Sheree's shocked and she's all happy. You know, she's like, my son does not do this. My son does not get in front of, you know, people and speak. So for him to do that, you know, is a very touching to her. That was cool. I like that a lot. Time for the auction. So Kenya gets up and Kenya asks Sanya before she gets up. She's like, well, what's the goal? And Sanya's like, it's 50,000, it's 50,000. And then Kenya was like, oh, we're gonna get more than that. She's like, it's 50,000 right here at this table, talking about the, you know, Candy and whoever's in there, the ladies' table. And Sanya's like, oh Lord. So, you know, Kenya's also like, so how, you know, pretty much it sounds like Kenya don't know how to be the auctioneer. So she's like, when they raise their paddle, does that mean they're gonna, you know, take that level of the amount that we're saying that, you know, is for? And she's like, yeah, that means they're gonna give that, right? So Kenya gets the fuck up there and kills it. And I always, you know, when people can do that, when people can just turn it on, I love that. I like admire that. I admire when people can just like not even really know what they're doing, but still make it look so great. Like Kenya did her damn thing, had everybody raising their paddles, having a good time. You know, Sanya's happy, but Candy and Mayetta's high fiving, and you know they giving 50,000 here, 50,000 there. It was dope. 10,000 here. I thought, you know, I thought that was cool. So not 50,000, but 10,000. So they're being 10,000 each, and then you know, a couple ladies did 25, you know, whatever. But it was just cool. So then the host comes back, and she says she has the amount. So you know, Sanya's like, you're, and she's like, well, how much is it? You know, and they raised $78,000, and that is so cool. I was like, damn, that's really nice. You know, for homeless mothers. So that was great. That was really great. Sanya then says that she's happy to see her girls put their money where their mouths are, and I'm just like, that is so cool. Like, I love that. I love that scene. It was a lot of I love that scene in this review, right? Like they actually, this review was pretty entertaining to me. I know I've seen, you know, certain people in comments say this, you know, is being boring. This season is boring, but I've been enjoying it. I think it's actually a cool season. But all right, y'all, please make sure you guys like, comment, share, and I'll be back.